Hello everyone, right now we are in part 8 of module 1. So here we will be discussing the transmission impairments. In any communication system, the signal that is being received by the receiver may differ from the signal that is being transmitted due to various transmission impairments. So transmission impairments are nothing but the different disturbances that are happening for the signal. Now, if you are looking at the analog signal, these impairments can degrade the signal quality, like that amplitude may vary, and accordingly the receiver may find some difficulty in understanding the information that is contained by the signal. So the signal quality may be affected. For example, if you are talking this voice signal itself, due to some disturbances you may be getting the exact voice, but still you may be able to understand the information within this with less quality. But if you are looking at digital signals, the bit errors may be introduced because in digital signal the information means we don't have that continuous amplitude variation, right? Either that high voltage level or low voltage level. So some disturbance to that one means we are not able to interpret that bit 0 or 1 after a particular level if it is attenuating or something. So bit errors may be introduced in when it comes to digital signal, such as the binary 1 is transformed to 0 and vice versa. So a bit error is nothing but the change of information 1 to 0, and the receiver is interpreting like that. Actually the sender is sending 1 and the receiver is reading it as 0 or vice versa. Okay. So the most significant impairments are mainly we will be discussing three types of impairments here: the attenuation and the distortion because of attenuation, called attenuation distortion, the delay distortion, and of course the noise. Okay, so let's have discussion on each category of impairments, starting with attenuation. I think all of you are familiar with the terminology, and that is related to the strength of a signal, which is further related to the amplitude, right? The strength of a signal falls off with the distance over any transmission medium. Definitely, as a signal is traveling for more distance, its signal strength will be degrading, right? If you are looking at the guided media, this reduction in strength, otherwise called attenuation, is generally exponential, and this is typically expressed as a constant number of decibel per unit distance. So it is like this: as the distance is increasing, the signal strength is reducing, and you can observe that the signal strength reduces as a function of the distance traveled in an exponential manner. So how much it is the signal strength reduces, say, after this much unit of distance, that will be some bigger value. So it is always better to express it in a unit called decibel, and what is decibel we will see soon. Right now you can understand it like this: we are taking some kind of logarithm for the actual value. So you know, when you are taking logarithm, means that exponential value will be something polynomial, maybe even constant also. For example, if I am taking, say, logarithm to the base 10 for the value 10 power 3000, when it is logarithm to the base 10, even 1000 become just 3, okay, because log 1000 to the base 10, that is nothing but log 10 power 3 to the base 10, that is nothing but 3 log 10 to the base 10, which is 1, so 3. So like that, a very bigger quantity you can represent it by a smaller value if you are taking the logarithms. The same thing is happening for the unit decibel. So normally the attenuation is represented in decibels. Okay. And if you are looking at the unguided media, the situation is more complex because the attenuation is more complex function of the distance, and also it will be affected by the atmosphere disturbances. Okay. Attenuation introduces three considerations for the transmission engineer. So those who are working in this area, so because of this attenuation, the engineer has to take care of the following three things. The first one, a received signal must have sufficient signal strength so that the electronic circuitry in the receiver can detect the signal. That means the signal should be sent in such a way that after receiving at the receiver side, the receiver should be able to detect it. So at the receiver side, some electronic circuitry will be there that will record the actual information from the signal. So that should happen clearly. And another one, the signal must maintain a certain level of sufficiently higher than noise to be received without error. So on the way the noise will also be added with the signal. So at the receiver side you should be able to distinguish between the actual signal from the noise. So at least some minimum level of amplitude say should be maintained by the signal at the receiver. Otherwise the receiver may be receiving this noise by thinking that it is the actual information. That should not happen. And now the third one, that is the attenuation, is normally found to be varying as a function of frequency, and we have a range of frequency, so different frequency component will be facing different attenuation value also, and accordingly so if you are trying to remove this attenuation by some means, more difficulty will be added because it is not found to be a fixed value for the entire signal. As the frequency is varying, the attenuation is also getting varied. Okay, so these three factors are to be considered by an electronic by an engineer, transmission engineer, who is taking care of these things. So the first and the second problem, that means the receiver should be capable of receiving the signal, recovering the signal. Also you should distinguish it from the noise, are dealt with by attention to the signal strength and the use of amplifiers or the repeaters. So you take care of the signal strength whenever the signal is having showing some tendency to degrade its strength. At that point, use something called an amplifier or a repeater, and the functionality of the amplifier or the repeater is nothing but both are working in two different contexts that we will see. They are nothing but the some kind of signal regenerators. Okay, so the amplifier can amplify the amplitude, means if it is getting the amplitude is getting reduced, that will be amplified back, and the repeater is doing some kind of regeneration of the signal. Okay, and the difference between these two we will see in detail later. So using proper devices, mostly this amplifier we are using with analog signal, and for digital signal we are using repeaters. Okay, that difference we will see. So using such devices properly placed at the correct distance, you can handle the signal strength reduction by giving attention to that, and that also by depending on the kind of transmission medium you are using, at what point this amplifier or repeater has to be placed, those things will change, because if we are looking twisted pair is there, coaxial cable, optical fiber, and this optical fiber is something very advanced transmission media, right? So it is capable of taking the signal for a very long distance without any attenuation compared to the twisted and the coaxial pair. So after that distance only you have to maintain this amplifier or the repeater if needed. But when it comes to twisted pair and coaxial cable, the situation is different. It will be degrading the signal. That attenuation will be happening for the signal very fast. So accordingly you have to place such devices. Now we have the point-to-point link and multi-point link. So that if there is a direct connection between the sender and the receiver, that is said to be the point-point link. So for a point-to-point link, the signal strength of the transmitter must be strong enough to receive intelligibly, but not so strong as to overload the circuitry of the transmitter or the receiver, which could cause distortion. So what they are trying to say is, when the transmitter is sending, the transmitter should be send the signal in such a way that the signal should travel for a long distance, or at the receiver side the receiver should be able to get the signal back without any clarity issue. Okay, but if you are improving the transmitter capability more and more, the circuitry may be complex. So that also you have to take care. So without making the circuitry much complex, it try to give maximum strength to the signal that is being transmitted by the transmitter. Now beyond a certain distance, attenuation becomes unacceptably great, right? And repeaters of the amplifiers are used at those points to boost the signal at regular intervals. And these problems are more complex for multi-lines. So here we talk about point-to-point link. So if you are looking at the multi-point link, you know, it will be connecting different devices also. Maybe single sender, multiple receiver, or on the communication link, many devices will be connected, not a direct point-to-point link, right? So these problems are becoming more and more complex when it comes to multi-point lines, where the distance from the transmitter to the receiver is a variable that we can't predict. Like if it is a point-to-point link, you know, there is a direct link, this is a distance, accordingly you can place. But when it comes to multi-point, that further adds some complexity. Now the third problem is particularly noticeable for analog signal, because attenuation varies as a function of frequency, that we already seen. The third one, as attenuation is varying as a function of frequency, for different frequency components of the signal, it is facing different attenuation. So altogether some kind of equalization is needed, otherwise it will make things complicated. That means for some part, say after this much distance you need a repeater, but for other part you need repeater for some for a different distance, something like that. So like that many problems will be there. So to overcome this problem, the techniques are available for the for equalizing attenuation across a band of frequencies. Such techniques are already available, but it is something beyond the scope of our discussion. Just understand that. Okay, so that is how we are dealing with the attenuation and the attenuation distortion. Now the second transmission impairment, that is delay distortion. The difficulty or the disturbances that is because of the delay of the signal travel. So delay distortion occurs when the velocity of propagation of a signal through a guided medium varies with the frequency. Again the same problem. The velocity at which the signal is traveling is also found to be varying with the frequency, because these terms are related to each other. So some kind of relation is there between the velocity of the signal and the frequency of travel. So both are related. So if you are looking at a band limited signal, the velocity tends to be highest near the center frequency and fall off toward the two edge of the band. Okay, so if you have that band limited signal, you know we have a central frequency. Okay, and that frequency is varying across, means it keeps on decreasing towards the edge. So at the center we are getting the maximum frequency component, and those part of the information which are traveling through that center part of that band will be traveling very fast because velocity is high. But when you are moving towards the end of the band, the velocity is found to be less for the signal. Okay, velocity of course falls off towards the edges of the band. So again that means the same information you are sending through this same set of information you are sending through this range of frequency, and some part of the information is reaching the which is traveling through that central band is reaching the receiver very fast, but others are reaching very slow, but all together making the complete information, right? So such delay variation is also causing problem. It is not related to attenuation. You are getting the signal exactly. Maybe we already handled that attenuation problem. We are able to receive the signal. We are able to retrieve the information correctly, but some part of the information is reaching early and some are reaching very late, but all together making the information. So accordingly some reordering will be there at the receiver. You have to keep them in the proper order to get the exact information. So such variation in delay, actually delay is there for everyone, delay is there, but some are facing more delay compared to others. So but everybody is supposed to face the same delay. So that is the situation, and this variation in delay and the problem related to that is also called jitter. And again, this terminology we will see later. Okay, right now you remember here we can use another term, a more technical term, jitter. So these things I prepared from the Stallings book, but I already told you different textbook using some slight variation terminology and all. For Rosen they are the same concept, they are using the term jitter. In Stallings they are using it as something called delay distortion. Both are same only. Okay, jitter, J-I-T-T-E-R. We will see that. Thus, various frequency components of a signal will arrive at the receiver at different times, resulting in phase shift between different frequencies. So, at a different phase, you already aware about the concept of phase. So, maybe if you are having a complete cycle of a signal, that is some 360-degree phase, accordingly the phase shift will be there, right? If it is a complete cycle, there will not be any phase shift. If it is some half cycle, some pi 180-degree phase shift, like that. So that kind of problem will be there. So because of the fact that different parts are arriving at the receiver at different time. So this effect is referred to as delay distortion because the received signal is distorted due to varying delays experienced at its constituent frequencies. Different part of the signal having different delay. So delay distortion is particularly critical for digital data, just like attenuation distortion also. Here delay distortion is also affecting the digital data than analog, because in analog we are dealing with the information like this voice and all. Even though problem is there, but it is going to affect the quality part only. Means you may not get the voice in a very clear way, some variation will be there, but still you are getting the information. That is the difference. But when it comes to digital, that bit errors are making the problem, because different bits are reaching. In this case, for example, consider that a sequence of bits is being transmitted using either analog or a digital signal. So we are talking about the digital data. We are sending digital data maybe through analog signal or digital signal. So whatever it is, a delay distortion causes something called inter-symbol interference. That is nothing but means whenever you are taking a message which is nothing but a collection of bits, say same problem, some part of the message is traveling fast, the other one is traveling slow. So the one who is traveling fast may be interfere with those which are traveling before that particular time. So this will be moving fast, and with the slower part of the information that will interfere. Accordingly, the first message, some part will say interfere with the some part of the second message, and second message those who are slower may be joining with the first one. Like that, some kind of inter symbol means each symbol you can represent it by a collection of bits, and the symbols are getting merged, forming different symbol. According to the information that is we are trying to convey will vary. So which is a major limitation to maximum bitrate over a transmission channel. So accordingly it will limit the bitrate that the channel can provide. So another side of the main side effect of the delay distortion. So you don't have to understand this concept much, because mainly even these electronics people are dealing with this area. Okay, anyway, just for our subject point of view, we just should get an idea about the physical medium, like physical layer. I already told you. So right now in data communication, in this subject as a whole, we are in the physical layer, and we made as a data link layer some part only, and all together these are all the things that is happening. In that level understanding is enough. Okay, so right now we are discussing the transmission environment. Just understand that there is attenuation distortion and another one delay distortion. And what is the major concept? What is that brief? You should be able to explain this terminology in a brief way, not in detail and all. Okay, maximum they may ask you questions like explain about transition environments, like that. Some theoretical questions only. Some, even though I just listed out almost all points that is being there in the William Stallings textbook as well as the Forosan. I referred both, and accordingly I am listing out, and even though it is a PowerPoint presentation, it is very detailed. So a subset of this is actually needed for you, and accordingly you can prepare it well. Okay. Always think it in the computer science point of view. Accordingly you take the information what is needed for you. Not much detail about that electronics part and all. Okay. Now the third environment, that is the noise. So here we have a definition for it. So for any data transmission event, the received signal will consist of the transmitted signal modified by various distortions imposed by the transition system. So that is what we already seen. When you are looking at the receiver side, the receiver is receiving what? The information that is being sent by the sender, but it is not the exact information that is being sent by the sender. On the way, the signal will be affected by different distortions like attenuation distortion, delay distortion, accordingly that in the symbol interference, etc. Plus, in addition to those distortions that we have discussed already, some additional unwanted signals may also be added with the information. So on the way, someone will be additionally coming into your journey like that. It may be part of the information that is being communicated through some other transition medium, or it may be some due to some external disturbances, say thundering and all. So accordingly some new signal may generate, and that may add as an additional information. That is something not needed for you. That is not something that you are trying to convey. Something else on the way is added with your signal. So that is of course it is an unwanted signal that are inserted somewhere between the transmission and the reception. That depends on the quality of the medium. Some medium are very much susceptible to such noises. Some like I already told you, like you can always have a comparison between this discrete or coaxial cable between the fiber optic cable. So definitely fiber optic, you know why it is giving this much performance, because comparing the other transition gated media available, this is very good at dealing with the impairments like distortion, noise. Anyway, in detail we will see the media details on second module. Okay. Now the later, that is the unwanted signal which is being added with the original signal, that is undesired signal, are referred to as noise. That can be anything. The causes can be anything. So the noise is a major limiting factor in communication system performance. The other things we can handle somehow, like by using proper repeater, amplifier. You can deal with the attenuation problem. Similarly for delay, distortion and all. Okay, even the jitter is there. By some kind of adjustment you can handle that also. But noise is something that is going to be a limiting factor for the overall performance of the system. So noise may be divided into 4 categories. So we are going to see this noise in somewhat detailed manner. That is thermal noise. Thermal noise is also called white noise. The intermodulation noise, the crosstalk, and finally the impulse noise. So we will be seeing 4 types of noise in this module. I think this I will make as a different part of the video, because for each one we need some time to explain. Okay, so again why I am giving much attention to different types of noise is because that itself is again I saw as your previous year question, explain on different types of noise, and particularly they ask some small problems from this thermal noise also. Okay, so that we will cover in the next part. Okay, thank you.